How have I been amusing myself? Well, let me introduce you to Clyde, my potted cyclamen. It's been 6 months and Clyde is still not dead. In fact, Clyde is doing so well that the new leaves are crowding out the old ones, and I'm going to have to learn how to trim a plant soon. As you can see, the blooms are in full growth, and there are several new buds coming up. So Clyde is doing well. Speaking of growing things, Oxygen Not Included entered into early access officially today. And as the expansion name might suggest, the agricultural update adds a lot more mechanics related to growing plants, particularly for food. There's a lot more depth in growing crops now, and plants will produce maximal harvests if you give them optimal growing conditions. There have been other additions, such as the automation of harvesting and also the automation of massage tables, which is my personal favorite addition, because it was a giant pain in the ass to manage everyone's stress levels. Plus there are copious patch notes. Not really time to go into them here, but I will return to Oxygen Not Included as an occasional video series. Another game that features a bodiless overseer who watches over the minutiae of the lives of its many ant-like minions in a dystopian future. The new edition of Paranoia is now in stores, and I picked that up earlier today. So what you see in the video here is the red clearance edition. It's got a number of books in it, source books that is, forms for your players, and these are, interestingly, these are actually sort of dry erase forms, very handy. Some dice and some decks of cards that are used in the game. If you're not familiar with the Paranoia role-playing game, I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a neat little twist on the role-playing game genre. I'm hoping to convince my buddies to play with me sometime. It should be fun crushing their aspirations as the all-knowing, all-seeing computer that runs their lives. One of the contributing writers to the new edition of Paranoia is Paul Dean of Shut Up and Sit Down fame. That's a website where board games and card games, tabletop games, are reviewed pretty much every week. It's a great site, and I love all their stuff. And it's through Shut Up and Sit Down that I first heard of The Extraordinary Adventures of Baron Munchausen. So, interestingly, you'll see here what looks like a book. This is actually the rule book, but it's written in the first-person perspective of the good Baron himself. The game itself is a competitive boasting game. It seems like it would be an interesting game to play with my buddies. Hopefully I get a chance. It's got some gorgeous art inside, and the rules seem pretty lightweight. The rules also suggest that drinking should be involved, so take that as you will. Brief tangent here. I know what you're thinking. Alfred, both your hands are visible. How did you film this? Well, I'll tell you, I don't have a tripod. After some experimentation and much swearing, I cobbled together this rig. It's composed of a Janzhou lamp, a floor lamp from IKEA, stuck together to a Swiffer sweeper, all held together by rubber bands, and all of that is suspending my phone, facing straight down at the table. If it's stupid but it works, well, then it worked. But it's still stupid.
You lost Zone A.
I have also been playing For Honor, Ubisoft's AAA medieval brawler. Now, for those in the know, sadly, I did not pre-purchase the season pass, so I don't yet have access to the two swanky new classes. But here is footage of me being killed by a centurion, so there's that. Another Ubisoft game I've been playing again recently is The Division. So I played The Division shortly after launch, then I stopped playing for a while, and recently I reinstalled it, just to check out the new stuff. If you'll give me a couple of minutes here, I have a couple of things to say about The Division. I promise I'll make it quick. First of all, as someone who has been stuck at LaGuardia Airport shortly after Christmas because of snow, I can say The Division it's thematic. It captures the atmosphere of wandering aimlessly through New York and, in my case, New Jersey very well. It captures something almost undefinable about like the desolation of a major city and snow and Yeah, okay. So the city in New York in the Division is a bit of a like a apocalyptic wasteland. Um, but just something about the the wreckage and the remnants of what was a bustling city, which essentially shuts down over Christmas, right? Or shortly after Christmas. It just captures that atmosphere so well. And graphically, I still really love how the Division looks. The reason I stopped playing is I just ran out of things to do once I hit max level, and I didn't enjoy having to repeat, the upper tier raids over and over again. Anyway, let's talk about the Division's design. Um, it does its environmental storytelling really well. The actual narrative story, I can kind of take it or leave it, right? I mean, after 3 expansions, they haven't advanced the story at all. Are they ever going to resolve that? Anyway, one thing I do really love about the Division is the safe houses. So the safe houses are scattered across the city, and they're all unique, and they're all reclaimed buildings that had other lives, and now they're just used as, safe places for you to restock, and places where refugees have been holed up, and places to distribute food and water. I mean, like there's the Grindhouse. Well, first of all the Grindhouse. It's a former movie theater, and you can see that when you walk in. There's there's the actual movie area. There's a concession stand which has been converted into like an ammo kiosk, and all the assorted crates and set dressing and stuff.
What are you waiting
All
for?
of these safe houses transition seamlessly in and out of the overworld, right? That's really cool. Another safe house I really liked is the Wolves Den. So this one is clearly set in a high school gymnasium, and it's called the Wolves Den. We can assume because that's the mascot of the school. It's got a slightly sinister name, but in fact it's just the school mascot. And again, you can just smoothly transition from inside to outside, and every one of these places has its own unique story like that. So for all of the things the Division didn't do right, I think it did some of its environmental storytelling really, really well. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Division. I think it gets a bad rap. It's okay. It's very pretty. Also, as far as I'm aware, New York doesn't have quite as many flamethrower gangs as appear in the Division. I've also been amusing myself with deck building games on my iPad. So as a rule, I really dislike the iPad's touch controls for most games. The flip side to that is I hate mouse and keyboard controls for card games on my PC. But card games on my iPad are the bee's knees. What a stupid expression. So listen, I've been playing Ascension, Star Realms, and Cthulhu Realms. All of which are very, very similar as games, mechanically speaking. No, they're thematically distinct. Those 3 games have some of the same authors between them, and more importantly, they're essentially free, with sort of paid expansions, as is common for iPad games. Another deck-building game that I have been playing is Tanto Cuore, which is, I believe, Italian for much heart, although the game is Japanese. And it's close, mechanically it's very close to Dominion, which is another deck building card game. I looked up Tanto Cuore because I really wanted to play Dominion on my iPad, and apparently all the reviews say this is the close to it. But come on, look at this game. I just want to play Dominion on my iPad. Is that so much to ask? And if that wasn't enough games already, I recently also purchased Humble Bundle 18. So here I'm showing you the webpage because the bundle is in fact still for sale. Any Humble Bundle in which I actually want one or more of the games is always a great deal for me. And in this one, I was particularly interested in SteamWorld Heist, Windward, Kentucky Route Zero, and Owlboy, none of which I had purchased previously. Owlboy in particular is a great deal because full price Owlboy is about $30-something Canadian, and I was able to pay $13 for this entire package. I do hope one day I have time to play any of these games. Of course, all of this gaming comes at a price, and that means certain titles get put on the back burners. In my case, it's Mass Effect Andromeda, which I was quite enjoying actually, but it just got lost under the deluge of other games. Man, is this a pretty game, but boy is it dumb. Like a golden retriever. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Alfred amuses himself. And obviously by making videos like this one, like the one you're watching. Seriously, this took me like an entire day.